Welcome back. Well, today I am joined by Jim Hopkins, who is here on behalf of GRF. Well, hi, Jim. Thank you so much for joining me. How are you today?
I'm doing fine, Lisa, and how are you?
Good, good. Well, it's nice to have you on, so thanks for joining us. And I know you have some great board updates that you would like to share with us.
Well, yes. One of the things that I think people don't see with the board is how we need to balance the present needs with our with the future. And so, preparing for the future while we maintain the present is very critical to us, and many times people don't see that. Uh, you know, at our stage in life right now, what we found out is that we've gone through the fastest growth in technology in the history of man.
Mhm.
We carry as much computer power in our pockets as was available on the fastest supercomputer 10 or 15 years ago.
Mhm.
And so every change that happens is happening at a faster pace now. And of course, we seniors are part of that change.
Mhm.
And from simple taste to even complex needs. And pickleball is a perfect example. Okay, pickleball started in 1970s in the country, but didn't become very very popular here in Laguna Woods until maybe 5 years ago.
Mhm.
Well, we had to adapt to that, and so hence you've got pickleball courts now lighted. And so those are the kinds of things that we have to look at on a continuing basis. Clubhouses, for instance, prior to COVID, we started to notice a different use of them. Many clubs were here in Laguna Woods, and so they became much more a part of club meeting places.
Mhm.
And so all of these things have to be taken into consideration when we do our future planning.
Right, right. Well, and you're right. I mean, and here also we talk about the demand for EV stations too. In fact, that isn't just that is a worldwide situation, especially if manufacturers are going to start making more and more electric cars. So you're right. Adaptation is the key. As we've learned over the last year, we had to adapt to everything going on with the pandemic. So, and we've applauded our seniors in many ways of how well they have adapted, and it kept the numbers very low in Laguna Woods.
Yes, I mean, EV, electric vehicles are a perfect example. More and more of us are purchasing them. And in fact, General Motors said that in 10 years, after 2030, they will not be producing any more gas-powered cars. And I'm sure that's the trend for the entire automobile industry.
Yeah.
So again, the pace of change is very, very fast. And one of the areas that GRF is exploring on a real-time basis is how we get electricity, specifically for the amenities, the clubhouses that we use, because that's what GRF is responsible for.
Hmm.
And right now, we've got a committee looking at how we get electricity.
Hmm.
And one of the conclusions we've come to is that the investment to get electricity using, let's just say, using our own funds is something we just don't have the funds to invest in. So we've come to the conclusion that we would be able to use something called energy as a service.
Mm.
In other words, the way this would work, and it would be using microgrids. The way this would work is that there will be a solar and battery powered switching station on our property, and it's owned and operated by a third party who
Hmm.
sells the electricity to our facilities at a fixed rate back to us. Now, the one vendor we've looked at, and by the way, we're not close to doing a purchase at the moment, but the one vendor that allowed us to be the guinea pigs and do a feasibility study is willing to guarantee us a fixed rate for 25 years.
Wow.
That rate would be 20% lower than the current Southern California Edison rates today. And so if it's fixed and you assume Southern California will be increasing its rates, we look at a possible savings of $10 million in 25 years. And we're hoping that could be more, but it does have some impact.
Right.
So we're looking at all of those kinds of things to get uh, an ROI for our residents, as well as sustainable electricity.
Yeah.
Texas had a few problems this
Yeah.
past couple of weeks.
Yeah, serious problem. I mean, you never know when you might have something like that happen, a freeze
Yeah,
like that, and it really took them by surprise.
yeah.
Now, when you talk about the solar and battery powered switching station, is that something that would have to physically be built?
Yes, but the good news is the third party vendor would actually build them themselves,
Oh,
but they would be next to the facility that it's supplying the power to.
I
And
see.
so we would have to supply the land, of course, but it would be totally owned and operated by that third party. In other words, we're just buying the energy. It would be energy as a service. It's
Right.
commonly called EAAS,
Yes.
energy as a service. So yeah, I mean, and that's the beauty of it. The investment that we would have to make to do that, and of course, we always like to own it rather than buy it. But the investment we would have to make would be far beyond our capacity to finance, and it
Oh,
just wouldn't make sense to obligate our residents for that sustainable for that period of time. Uh,
right.
that
So does that mean you can't use places like, let's just say, for example, like a solar company that puts those panels on tops of roofs and then you finance it? Is that what you're referring to? That would not be sustainable?
Yes, I mean we would they would still put the panels on roofs and wherever they would fit. And in fact, what they're looking at, because this is a considerable amount of electricity, what they're looking at is actually putting little carports uh, at the clubhouses, and on top of those clubhouses, you would have on top of the carports, excuse me, you
Yes.
would have solar panels. Now,
Yeah.
if you go up 405, you've seen them on at the Kaiser Building, for
Yeah.
instance. Okay,
Yeah.
and it is common. It is common to do that.
Right. I mean, that looks like a great idea, and hopefully you
Yeah,
guys can get that going. So that's exciting. I mean,
yeah,
that's really exciting for you to be able to be on that path. So I'll look forward to hearing more about that. That's
yeah,
great.
yeah.
Now, the breeze, we've got, we current issue of the breeze, and we're talking a lot about broadband and cable TV and internet. And as you know, we've had some internet challenges these days. So yeah, I mean, capacity is being, I think, used on a regular basis right now. What do you want to tell us about that?
Yeah, it's as anybody that's read the current issue of Breeze, they see what's going on with broadband and cable TV and the internet. And pretty soon the future is going to be that cable TV, regular TV, and the internet are all going to be on one portal.
Mm.
And I know we see it as a wire coming in, so to speak, to the house, and it gives us everything we need. But the truth is that it's coming from several different sources. At some point, and I don't know what that point is, but in the relatively near future, uh, everything, including the TV we look at, is going to come through the internet portal. That's where the industry is going.
Mhm.
And so if you look at our purchasing of internet speed today, and I'm sure that'll have to change, only 25% of the internet that the average citizen, let me say it a different way, only 25% of the citizens or residents here purchase enough internet speed to be able to broadcast uh, for a future position in broadcasting. So it, it's it's going to be challenging, not necessarily for the physical preparation that GRF has to do, because I think we know pretty much what that takes. But it's going to be difficult to get the residents to transition from what they've been used to, okay, to going on the internet to get all of their TV programs. The industry will start making adjustments, and of course, we'll have to react to those adjustments. But it's going to be a challenge. It's going to be a
Well, and
challenge.
there also might be, as time goes on, more selection, because I think that right now we're looking at monopolies of, companies, and not necessarily just here in Laguna Woods Village, but then you look outside and you've got Cox and you have a couple of others, but there's really not very many to choose from. So I think the hope is that there'll be more vendors that will be able to provide us something. But beyond that, like you mentioned, are you going to have to go underground, or, how are you going to do it? That sounds like a big job.
It is, and fortunately, the people who laid out our conduits laid out empty conduit so that it's already there
Oh,
to bring very, very fast internet to our homes.
no kidding.
So yeah, it's amazing. We just did a study. I think I forgot the name of the company that did the study, but we just did a study, and what they discovered was the conduit was there, which we just need to take advantage of it. So it does lessen our investment. It
Yeah.
is going to take an investment, but it will lessen our investment
Oh,
to get
well,
into the
that was
future.
smart.
Yeah.
Go figure that they had that much of a foresight, to do that. So that's awesome. Well,
Well,
gosh,
we're trying to have the similar visibility as we go forward.
yeah, well, all really good stuff. I appreciate the update, and I look forward to hearing more. It sounds very exciting.
Great, great. I'm looking forward to the future myself.
All right. Well, Jim, thank you so much. It was nice to meet you. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And we'll be right back after this.